My eyes better. Yesterday it looked like I had a black eye, so looks like it healed up. Let's situate this, and then I'm not going to immediately go over and try to harass my brother, since, lately every time I do that, he shows up over here. So I'm just going to wait and see if he shows up over here this time. Oh man, I have too many miniatures to put together. I got my pickle container. You know, pickles came in this, but my wife makes like pickled red onions and stuff, and she can use these, like, so that's pretty good. But I've got miniatures to throw in there. Still impatiently waiting for my Reaper stuff. And also, I meant to wake up early enough to join Shadow on his morning stream, and then, like a damn loser, I overslept. I feel kind of bad about that. I think my brother has told me this. Squirrel Hermit, how you doing, brother? But yeah, one of the things my brother has told me is I need to start like going on other people's streams occasionally too. So hopefully one of these days I'll uh, be able to get over there on time and join Shadow, or join him on his sci-fi talks, which I don't know how he feels about that, because we talked about it before, and it's like I always tell Shadow that there are no aliens. It's not happening. And he's like, no, there's gotta be. And I'm like, nah, there's not. And then recently, he and I have started watching this physicist. I believe his name is Friedman or Findman or whatever. And this dude is literally just proving how, you know, there are no aliens. And even if there were, we would never know. And they would never know. And I don't know. I don't think I feel better about it. It's not like I didn't want there to be aliens, but I just always figured there weren't any. And now we've got, these physicists saying that, yeah, there's probably none. But the even wilder part of it is that because of the way time and space works, they would never be able to get here. You know what I mean? There's a paradox when it comes to mass and fuel and the speed of light. And there's no way, conceivable anyway, to break that paradox. So there you go. Some orange juice, but not really. It's orange monster or tangerine. So I am currently, not that you asked, but since you're here, I am currently putting plastic miniatures in soapy water to let them sit in there for a little while. And hopefully, if there's any uh, mold release on them, this will take it off. And then that way I can primer them and paint them without having to deal with. You know that you hit the mold release if you ever painting like a Reaper miniature or something, and you're putting the paint on, and all of a sudden the paint just like pulls away from an area and leaves it with no paint or primer on it. that's an area where the mold release is still on. And I know this because I worked in a plastic injection factory for a year, actually. So they fired me. Stupid way to get fired, too. They hired me for like first shift, and at the time I was a single parent. Because I was a single parent for many years before I met my wife, who decided to help help me out. Your new BooX AirNote 5C. I don't know what any of that is. I mean, if you're talking technology to me, Squirrel Hermit, I am not going to know what you're talking about. Like, I was excited because today I got a bunch of copper Brillo pads and some spray to clean my grill. So that's exciting. You know, I've got the tank of gas out there too. So I told my wife whenever she's ready, I'll be out there. We can smoke a brisket. We can do up some steak, some hamburgers, hot dogs. I don't care. Frank's, freaking some any kind of sausages. So what I ended up getting, and it's catalyst stuff. So I'm sure some people are going to be like, "Damn, why?" But because I wanted it, is I ended up buying some of their vehicles. So the VTOLs. Now I have some of the metal ones, so I'm pretty good. Like my beloved Maxim hover infantry vehicles. Yeah, I've got them. So, which is good because I guess that Catalyst Games doesn't actually make those. Oh, okay. I remember those. I had one of those, but it was I forget what it was called, but it looked like paper, and you could download like books into it, and then it would have a page, and you'd read it, and when you got done with that page, you just flip to the next page. So like you know, yeah, you could read books and everything. It was like I guess it was an Audible thing. Like you hooked into Audible and you could download all of your Audible books, which thanks to my beloved brother, I have very many Audible books because he bought me an Audible account and I check it about once every 6 months. And so every time I check it, I've got like 6 or more credits. And I'm just like, woohoo! Get everything by R.E. Howard and everything by H.P. Lovecraft and Clark Ashton Smith. And I'll tell you what, my new computer, I think it's part of the Word program that's on it. Like I can take a PDF. Like I've got all these uh, game PDFs on my new computer, right? And I can take a PDF and just tell the computer to read it to me, and it will. Like while I'm sitting there, it's reading like the whole damn Hyperborea rulebook or whatever else I got. I ordered some stuff recently from Mongoose Publishing, and so maybe I'll have the computer read it to me. It's all um, it's all 2300 stuff because that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm going to order some 2300 stuff. They came out with the so far they've got 2 parts out for the Kafer invasion of 2300. So Actually, I think the K for Invasion is it 2300 or 2329? Dude, they send you around a lot. I hope they pay you. I hope you're getting paid, man. When I was with the fire service, I volunteered to go help put out a fire in Daytona, right? So I was over there for 4 days in a row, working all day. And because of how sometimes wonky our paychecks are, because of how our shifts work, I ended up losing money. Like I got back and got paid less than if I just stayed home. Everybody's like, that's not right. And, the admin, they're like, well, that's the way it is. And I didn't even fight about it. I was like, fine, whatever. We'll let that soak there for a little bit. I was just like, whatever. This is my United States of whatever. So I got myself 5 gigantic 4-armed ape men. And one of them's got a shield and a spear, and the other one's dual wielding axes. I think that they look really cool. So, oh, yeah, before I do anything, this needs to be dealt with. Let's find. Nope, not this. Nope. So, yeah, Scroll Hermit. I mean, if you got to travel a lot, that's got to make it like so much better, when you're back at, wherever they set you up. And, instead of being bored, you can freaking at least read your game books. And if you got some paper on you, you can make some plots, something like that. You can be all like, okay, I'm gonna read my whatever books you're reading right now, and I'm gonna plot out some adventures for those knuckleheads when I get home. You know. You probably can have by doing that. You probably will be able to make some really good adventures. And what I'd tell you is when you're out and about driving around and stuff, just keep your eyes open for any sort of landmarks or anything that looks really cool. And then, maybe work that into your game, right? Well, I mean, you guys already know I've worked my beloved home Commonwealth of Kentucky into my game so many times. You know, so many times the players have started in an area that, even if they don't know what it is, um, geographically it's Eastern Kentucky, and then they have to travel around. I mean, since the it's like if you take the area of Kentucky, Ohio, Tennessee, West Virginia, right? You can look at that on a topographical map and then convert it over to your standard hex map if you want by hand. Or you could try to make it a fancier map, like a Tolkien style map or something. And because there's no state lines drawn, you can't actually really tell what you're looking at. It just looks like a fantastical realm area, whatever, with, a bunch of mountains running north and south, and, you know, a lot of hills, a whole region of nothing but damn hills and stuff. And then it gets flatter the further west you go, right? And then you can say that in the flatlands, that's where your horse warriors live. You know, the people who live on the plains, and they raise their horses, whether they're like the Rohirrim or Mongols or whatever, it don't matter, right? And and then you can have your mountain people, your dwarves living in basically near Asheville, you know, like near the town of Asheville, North Carolina, could be literally a dwarven hold. Um, so in that way, right, you can take whatever state that you're from, that you know what things are like there. You know what it's like. And then just by mapping it out and removing state borders, you have created an entire fantasy map. And if you think about it, most players are never going to journey from, you know, let's say Georgia to upstate New York. That's, you know, usually they're going to stay probably in the state that, you know, like if I set my characters in that area of Appalachia, they're going to stay in Appalachia. You know, you already know that, right? Because there's just endless stuff that they can get into just in that region. There's no reason to leave, you know, and you can take Ohio and turn it into like a whole thing, and you got to leave the Cumberland and the Ohio River and everything on, you know. So, and maybe that would be two different kingdoms, because if you're doing kingdoms, you got to remember that kingdoms, at least stable kingdoms, are generally separated by some kind of geographical or topographical border. So, uh, you know, if there's a kingdom in Ohio, it will be on the other side of the Ohio River from whatever kingdom exists in Kentucky, because that big ass river helps protect both kingdoms from uh, just a rapid invasion, though it won't stop raiders, right? And then even in Kentucky, you could have two kingdoms on either side of the Cumberland. And, you know, now I've just went off on mapping because it is one of my favorite parts of D&D of all time, really, is mapping. I love the creativity that you can spend on a map. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be hard to make a role playing game map. You literally can basically use anything, really. My Kaliningrad campaign is basically Kentucky and the region, except how I really changed it up is the cultures. Because even though the land and everything is basically Kentucky and Ohio and Appalachia and all that, the culture is very much 10th century Kievan Rus. So, you know, that's pretty different from, you know, a bunch of hillbillies in Pike County, or Hazard or Pikeville or whatever. Um, and my players, even the ones that live in that region now, currently, and have lived up there as long as I have, if not longer, they never, to this day, they never realized that I just drew a map of that region and removed all the modern stuff. And I didn't even remove all the modern stuff, because some of the cities in Kaliningrad are in the same exact location as like Lexington or you know, Columbus or something like that. So, yep. As a matter of fact, the Appalachian mountain range separates the Eastern Empire from the center, or the homelands of the empire, and then the Western Empire is western part of the empire is like near Paducah and all that. And when we left off the game, there was a civil war going on between the three parts of the empire because the archdukes were all duking it out to see who could become the regent for the very young Tsarina because the Tsar had died suddenly. No one was ready for it. And the only child he had ever had was a 10-year-old girl named Katerina. So she ascended to the throne, but then a lot of the archdukes, who were basically uncles, and they all decided that they wanted to basically rule in her place. Now, at least one of them, according to my story, had good intentions. Like he really wanted to protect her until she was of age, but one of them definitely does not have good intentions. He just wants to take over, and then one of them's still kind of on the fence about what he wants to do. And that's just how the story was going. Yeah, yeah, it is. And where I got the idea from, believe it or not, is Greyhawk second edition, or not Greyhawk, Gamma World. If you get Gamma World second edition, you look at the map, it's Pittsburgh. They're in Pennsylvania, and you might journey to Michigan, or you might journey to Ohio because it's on the map. You could even journey to Kentucky, but there's nothing there in Gamma World, which reflects reality. So yeah, the Gamma World map inspired me to try to do something like that, but with fantasy. And then how I started the whole campaign, which went for like a decade, and honestly still isn't over because I still have their characters. And if we ever decide to play D&D or OSC Advanced or anything again, I could just hand the characters out and we could start playing again in that campaign setting. But their first encounter with the world was B2. All right, bro. It was B2 Keep on the Borderland, except I had changed all the names. And the Keep on the Borderland was actually positioned next to what would be considered in our world. Hey, brother. I said earlier I wasn't going to call you because I was sure you'll find your way here eventually. But yeah, so B2 Keep on the Borderland was next to a river. And what the players never understood is that river was actually the Cumberland River. But I mean, I renamed it. And that's how the whole campaign started. That ran all those years. It started with the players showing up to Stojanau Keep because instead of calling him the Castilian, his name was Joseph Stojanau, and which the last name I stole from Pull of Radiance. And they went into the Caves of Chaos, which weren't called the Caves of Chaos. And they did all their adventuring there. And eventually it spread out. But one thing, which is what I was talking about, is the players really never traveled more than 100 miles. Cool. They never really traveled more than 100 miles from where they started. It was like in all of those years, because of the way I set up the campaign world and the setting and everything, It was like they never had to make some big months long journey. Everything was right there. You know, you had the Witch Mountains, which I copied from the Bell Witch story from Appalachia. You had the caves full of monsters. You had evil cults and, you know, a massive forest, which was the Daniel Boone National Forest. But in my game, it was called the Mistwood or Mirkwood or Duskwood. Um, and so, yeah, the players, especially when they got older and they got caught up into the politics and everything, they pretty much were always hanging out in the same area, doing stuff, you know. Like the longest journey they may have taken was from Stojanal Keep to uh, Kaliningrad, and that might have been 100-mile journey, if. And then they adventured into Kaliningrad, like in the city of Kaliningrad, for like a year almost, getting caught up in the politics between the 12 princes of Kaliningrad. Because, you know, that's how Kunyaz, which I believe is Russian for prince, Kunyaz. And yeah, so you had all these different princes vying for power. And there was like one person who was supposed, basically, you had one guy that was like the first among equals. He was the tiebreaker. So, yeah, Kaliningrad was basically a democracy in a way, but not really. You know, the city ran itself, but ultimately it still had to answer to Tsar. And the Tsar lived in Mosengrad.
Hey,
Tim, how are you?
good. Be playing my Deadlands game tonight. Going after a bounty.
Nice. Is it a bounty on a normal person or a bounty on something that's going to scare you?
Normal person thus far.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the DM knows the rule of not introducing anything supernatural just yet.
I don't know. You might. Or Bloodworth might be like, I'm going to stick these guys right in the fire right off. Hey, Coochie, how you
There, I
doing,
guess.
homie?
But everything
So,
I hear is that the best thing to do is to keep it normal Wild West, at least at first, and then introduce the
it
supernatural.
depends on your group. If you're
True.
playing and you've got like a Texas Ranger or something like that in the group, the Texas Rangers already know everything's effed up. You know what I mean?
Fair.
That's kind of their whole job, is to travel around the Confederate States and stamp down on the supernatural stuff, you know. But yeah, I mean, Deadlands is a cool game. So yeah, Coochie, I think it was you I was talking the Baltec stuff to the other day. I don't know if I told you, but I decided after thoroughly thinking about my entire life that if I run Baltec, and that's a huge if because of how much fun we're having playing Hyperborea, um, yeah, I'm just going to play second edition Mech Warrior with all the books that came with that. Cold Iron Skillet, where have you been, bro?
Yeah,
Where
hey,
have you
Iron
been?
Skillet.
I mean, I know he's been posting some memes, but Mr. Cold Iron Skillet,
He posts a lot of good memes.
well, yeah, he is the meme master. So, yeah, we've just been having so much fun, you know, and it's just wacky little things that make the game fun. Plus, my players are a bunch of clowns. Our campaign is like a bunch of freaking clown shoes. You know, it's just one thing after another.
Sometimes it'll be like that.
Sometimes it do be like that. But like I honestly think I could run my Hyperborea game and never actually make an adventure. I could just show up and sit down at the table and just wait. for somebody to try to F somebody over or something, you know? It's like, yeah, I don't have to actually come up with the scenarios because my players are doing it. And I'll tell you what, it makes it easy as a DM when you've got a bunch of proactive players that are, actively getting after it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes you need that, and it's always fun to do that whenever you're the one causing all the trouble.
Right. And so I've got like a couple of players I would call more passive players,
Yeah,
but then I've got like 6 players who are definitely more.
active.
Oh yeah, and they're not like spotlight hogs.
No,
They're just always doing shit. When I say okay, every time I say you're at the town or whatever, what do you want to do? Some of the players will be like, I don't know, go to the tavern, whatever. And others of the players are like, this, and this. And so, yeah, the game keeps being very interesting. Who is Condor? Am I Condor?
I don't
Oh,
know.
your tooth got pulled.
Killed Iron Skeleton. I say some Gondor. I don't know if he's here.
The GUO. I don't even know what the GUOGC is.
Me neither.
So, um, is,
Guessing
is
it's
that
something.
the thing that Dungeon Delver does? Look at this
I don't
guy.
know.
What's up?
Oh yeah,
Hey,
you got a tooth pulled, all right.
Oh, fucking hell, yes, I did.
In Georgia too. So I mean, did they use like a rusty pair of needle nose pliers or something?
No, they got me with the old fish scaler they found.
Well, if you were him, you could just be Condor, and we could just talk like normal people, like I talk to you actually. Uh, but I don't. I'm not accusing you of being him. But if you were, I heard about it from Double D. I haven't talked to Dave, who is Dungeon Delver, and lives like 40 minutes from my house. So I don't know. Now I will say this: I've never really known Double D to lie about stuff, but you know. So I mean, my initial response, if Double D comes up to me and says, "Hey, I saw this thing," my initial response would be to believe him because I'm like that. You know, maybe call me naive, but if I trust a person and they tell me something, a lot of times, most of the time, all the time, I'll be like, "Huh." Now, is it really my problem? No. And I like Dungeon Delver. I really do. I like Dungeon Delver. I like Harmony Ginger. Like I said, they live in my area. They're fellow Orlandoites or whatever you would call us. But
Orlandians?
Orlandians,
Homosexuals?
shut up.
No.
Oh! I gotta go.
Okay.
Okay. See ya, Killed Iron. Hope you feel better.
Yeah, y'all have a good one. Sorry, I'm all messed up. I just wanted to come say hello.
Yeah, you sound like you got a mouthful of cotton swabs.
Yeah, and it's still partially numb, so I just drooled spit blood all over the place.
Well,
Oh, I just jabbed myself in the chin. Oh,
we'll go lay down.
I am laying down.
Oh, well, never mind then.
Go
But,
rest.
I
I
can't
don't know.
rest. If I lay all the way down, it'll hurt real bad.
Yeah.
You know, I oddly enough, even though I live in the area and I've been to the store that he mostly frequents, but it's not my store. Um, Dave and I don't talk too much. Like, I watch the show sometimes and I'll make comments, and he knows who I am. And Harmony Ginger knows who I am. And if you want to get her attention, just use her name. a lot because I think she actually, at least on X, she would search for her own name to see if anybody had mentioned her. Um, but yeah, I do know that Dungeon Delver is pretty much apolitical, doesn't want to talk about any of the weird shit. He just wants to play D&D. And he did run Gamma World, I believe, second edition for a while, and I watched that, and it looked like a lot of fun, you know. If you're into Gamma World, which I kind of am, which is another reason for me to love Hyperborea again because it's full of mutants and weird shit. But your line of work, everyone does everything. Well, when I was a firefighter, one of the rules we learned in paramedic school was that every patient lies. Because, you know, you walk up to the patient and you ask them what the problem is, they're not going to tell you what the problem is. It's just the nature of the beast. Or they'll give you a half truth or something like that. But imagine if you were a cop, it'd be the same way too. Every time you walk up to somebody, they're like, see, people need to be more like me when they deal with the cops. Silent and compliant. I ain't fighting no damn cop. Even back when I was like trying to pretend to be a rough street hood, when the cops showed up, that's when the bullshit ended. You know what I mean? And if I got arrested, I just turned around, let them put the cuffs on. Yes, sir. No, sir. Don't answer shit.
There's a time and a place, and it is never right then and there.
Nope. I mean, passions are already high if the cops got caught. You know what I mean? Especially since every time I went to jail, it was for assault and battery, for being out in the streets, being an asshole.
Typical
and I can say that I
trespasser.
was out in the streets being an asshole. So by the time they show up, because you don't want to fight a cop, man. They're going to win.
Can't outrun the radio.
That's exactly it. You might be able to get one over on a cop, but his partner's on the way, and he's bringing a taser and an ass whipping. So it's a lot better when they show up to just be like, but you never like tell them anything. You tell them like your name, your address, but you don't tell them like if they ask you what happened or something. Nope. You know, and in that way, you can be arrested like 12 times and never be convicted of anything.
What I always hated was they asked me if I had any warrants, and I'm like, aren't you the one that's supposed to fucking know? Like, I don't know if you went and got a warrant. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, and it's funny because before they ask you if you got a warrant, they already know if you do.
This just always irritated me.
Because with the computers they had in their car, even back then, they could just type in your name or your license plate. They know.
I mean,
but they're going to ask you. I don't know why. Just to get you to admit to some shit. Because if you admit to it, then now they've got a better case.
Oh, yeah. And especially if you're like, I get it if you're like running from another county, but like, why the fuck would you do that anyway?
Yeah. I always just assumed that whatever they asked me, they already knew the answer to. So, you know, I just it's like when they asked me my name, I know they know my name. They already figured that shit out when they showed up. Like, so I'd be like, James McKee. And they'd be like, okay, James, how are you? Because some of them knew me from high school. But yeah, you've been killing it lately with some of those memes, man.
Well, yeah, I've been laying up in pain, man.
Yeah, yes. I've been digging the whole Battlestar Galactica ones.
Yeah,
Timmy, you hate all my memes.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You said so.
No.
When you and Bear were touching your wieners together, tag teaming on me, well, let's pick on Cold Iron Day. That was a fun day, wasn't it? Oh, God, yeah. Him and Bear got so sassy and gay with each other, touching wieners.
I don't remember this.
No, y'all teamed up on me. Just like, oh, fuck you, Mr. Meme. Do
That was
better.
Bear. He was being a Canadian. I wasn't.
Okay, well,
You're a Canadian. What in the hell? What am I painting? Currently Reaper figures, but I've also got some mechs on the table. I'm getting ready to work on a Sentinel, a Assassin, and a Merlin, which are for the most part medium mechs. I just did a wash on this Griffin, which is part of one of the Merrick militias, and I'm going to go back and panel paint the white panels. I'll probably start with a really pale blue, and then the final touch-up will be a white. I forget who told me about going when you paint white. Somebody left it in comments. When you go white, instead of just going flat gray, go blue-gray, because the blue gives the white a better, like, cooler color. And I mean cooler temperature wise, because I mean, you know how colors can be warm, neutral, or cold, and white looks better when it's cold.
Because it's so. What is that phenomenon called? It's called something.
It's artsy fartsy talk that I only know because I used to watch Bob Ross a lot. Honestly.
Oh, Bob was part of the wholesome trinity.
Yeah, I used to watch Bob Ross every night before I went to bed because he came on at like midnight, 1 o'clock something, and put old Bob on, and he'd paint pictures of Alaska, which my brother, you know, like I've said, we know about Alaska. And
that used to make me laugh.
And if I remember now, when he would paint snowy mountains, he always started with blue and brown. And then
Prussian blue or something.
Yeah. Because colors are weird like that. But
you know what, Cold Iron? You need to put Hungar as Bob Ross with the big afro.
You know, someone wants to send me that photo. I can make it happen.
Well, were you the one that made Hungar an ultramarine with a Santa Claus hat?
That's the only clip I had of him was with the Santa Claus hat.
He
and
has
so I
the
just
shirt.
Huh?
He has that on a shirt. He was wearing it yesterday, and it's just
that's cool.
Hat with the. See, I'm wearing this, which Hungar made this, and it's the Spacers Guild from the original
Third Stage Guild Navigator.
Yeah, except it's Pepe.
Oh, that's cool.
See really well, but if I hold it up a little closer.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Pepe the Frog inside the tank.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, the Spacing Guild is like Kekistani now? Like
yeah, it's Kekistani. You know, the third, it's like the Emperor standing there and the thing goes, and he comes up and says, hello, friend. Painted the sacrificial altar. Oh, I'll have to look at that. I've got Reaper a couple months ago. That was their free miniature. Is like if you ordered more than like whatever, they sent you a sacrificial altar with 3 different, like a dwarf, a human man, and a human woman that you could glue to it. And now they're giving away the silly long rest diorama thing, which I could do without. But the sacrificial altar thing, I've actually painted up and used in game. Because the players, those of you who follow my game, got ambushed by cannibals, killed them, and then tracked the cannibals down into the deep desert north of Zimbala. And they found an altar where the cannibals had been sacrificing people to Yag, the god of beasts and cannibalism, and the players jumped in on them and killed all of them, and that's how they found the opening to the Atlantean temple is the big flat stone altar had a latch on it, like a secret button, and they clicked it and it tilted up, and there's a staircase underneath. But every time they leave the dungeon to go rest and stuff, they're like rolling the die, because if a sandstorm comes, it's going to bury it all. So, but luckily, they've been lucky with the weather lately, so they've managed to explore the dungeon. Now, if they're in the dungeon and a sandstorm happens, they're going to have to try to dig themselves out
Oh my god.
or find another exit. I mean, they did get to they were 400 feet down, I think, through the dungeon, and they opened this copper door that was covered in like ancient, like fossilized barnacles. And on the other side was like giant, mammoth cave like shit, caverns. And they fought some troglodytes, and the troglodytes warned them that there were gugs in the area.
Oh,
And
fun.
they figured out what a gug was, because the mage is like, look, can I? And I said, well, give me a whatever intelligence check. And
We used to call Gugs the Sasquatch.
because
it- Yeah.
so he made it with a 0-1 on the percentile die. So I explained to him what a gug was and the history of them. But oh yeah, I had some waiting.
Oh.
And my gugs in Hyperborea, to make them extra assholes, their bite attack works like a Vorpal sword. So if they grab the claw attacks, they get the bite attack. And if they roll a nat 20 on the bite attack, I random what they bit off. It's going to be arm or leg or your head. Either way. Painted it for the cultists. Yeah, Keep on the Borderland. It's still my favorite D&D adventure of all time. I mean, TSR adventure. I've got some other adventures I really love, but that thing's like less than 30 pages, and you can run a campaign for years just off the stuff in there. And then if you look at the middle pages, which are basically like a DM screen, really, I mean, it inspired me so deeply because I was so young when I first ran it. I think I was like 13. That to this day, when I create Wandering Monster tables, I use the Keep on the Borderland as the template, where you have 3 columns, 20, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the rarer monsters are the most powerful. So basically the middle monsters are around the same level as the player characters. The monsters over here are maybe a level lower or more. So they're nuisances more than, threats. And the middle could be threats, but they're not really big threats. And then that last one, that's the one where they might have to run, depending on what I roll. Look and Keep on the Borderlands encounter table. On the 3rd column, you can encounter like dice 6 whites as a random encounter. If you're a bunch of level 1 or 2 players and dice 6 whites show up,
start to run fast.
Yeah, you better run.
Isn't Keep on the Borderlands basic?
It's basic D&D for level 1 through 3.
Yeah, and there's a D6 whites.
Yes.
Holy
because
fuck.
in old school gaming, the way Gary Gygax figured the game would be, players were supposed to run sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the world, see what happened with later editions of D&D is, since they had their like encounter tables and whatever, it become like like EverQuest, where you would be in a zone, say Freelands or whatever,
Yeah.
and you knew the level of everything in the zone. And
They
then when you're
gamified it.
ready, you go to another zone, and it would be a different level, right? But in original D&D, you could be
You
level 1, running through the forest and encounter a dragon.
Eh, because it's
At
not
which
like
point, you either talk your way out of it, or you die, or you run.
it's not like
Jimmy?
like gamified style.
Right, right. I mean, but that's what they've been trying to do since really fourth is when they tried to make it just a glorified analog role playing
I
game.
liked fourth edition, but just not as D&D because it had the at will abilities, the encounter abilities, etc., and the second wind
Right.
ability.
For
It felt
fighters,
like
so that you could heal yourself. That is a good ability.
it felt like a kung fu game or like a deep dynastic East Asian game.
Have you ever looked at the fourth edition Essentials books?
No.
They basically should have been called 4.5. And it basically got rid of a lot of the stuff that people really hated about fourth edition. Kept a lot of the stuff that we all liked, and then landed in the middle there. So it was kind of like a compromise between third and fourth.
I
Yeah,
could
this is
stand
like
the
a third
alignment,
and fourth thing.
and I hate Dragonborn.
Dragonborn. I don't even know what Dragonborn
Dragon,
is.
whatever it's the Dragonborn races or whatever.
Yeah, it's a newer version of the new race.
Oh, you're talking about Free League, right?
No, it's not about fourth edition.
Oh.
Yeah, they had
You're saying the race. No, I thought you were talking about game. Dragonborn? Yeah, I don't like Dragonborn either.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Mouth.
That was my bad. I don't like Dragonborn either. I think it would have been a lot better if they just made like lizardmen a playable race.
Or anything would be better than that. It's just fucking lame.
I'm also not a fan of fourth edition tieflings. I like the AD&D tiefling better.
I think in RuneQuest they had like a race called like Dragon Newts. They had a reason for that one though.
Well, I mean, the idea of lizard men being intelligent and having like a, just do what Games Workshop did, give them a society like the Aztecs or the Egyptians or something.
Oh, with Dragon Newts, their whole thing was trying to become dragons themselves. It was, I guess, a little weird, but that's you can say with a lot of races in RuneQuest.
Well, in Talislanta, obviously, since there's like 150 different things you can play, one of them is a Saurian, and they're basically just lizard men that come from this very warrior-like culture, and they cruise around doing their thing, and if you befriend one somehow, then it adventures with you. It's okay, not that big of a deal. But I don't like the Dragonborn. I don't like the Tiefling at all. I like and they added the Tiefling to OSC Advanced in one of the carrying crawlers, and they made it like the AD&D Tiefling. So if you play a Tiefling, you can never be good. You can only ever be neutral or chaotic, and you have to roll on these charts to see what your demonic mutations are. Basically, like your character might have cloven hooved feet, or a tail, or little horns on their forehead, or it can be something like your character always smells like brimstone. Like anybody who stands near you will smell it, and they're hated by pretty much everyone. But that probably has more to do with the fact that they're almost always chaotic. So, they're always getting into shit. and they're the classes they can play. It's like none of them can ever be a cleric or something, but they can be thieves and assassins. So, still contemplating whether level drain. Oh yeah, we were talking about that, right? Whether it made the character just a 0 level schmuck or killed him. I would go with he's dead and he'll be a white in like 1 die 6 turns. But your DM is got more say over it than I do.
Yeah, it's
I
whatever
will
the
say
DM
this
says.
though. In Hyperborea, whites drain die 6 or die 4 con every time they hit you. And at first, that might seem to be like easy mode compared to level drain. But in the long run, it actually is worse.
Yeah, it is
When you
worse.
consider the white gets 2 attacks per round, in theory, in 1 round, it could reduce your con to by 8. And if you're a mage and you didn't pack con, I mean,
Yeah, you're gonna be
or
dead at that point.
yeah, you could be in trouble, right? And then the next time you get hit, you hit 0 con, you come back as a white in die 6 turns. And should you survive the shenanigans, it takes 1 full day of bed rest to get 1 point of con back.
Mhm. So we're pretty
So,
anal about that. Like, lay in bed, you can do nothing.
yeah, you can like sit up and eat soup.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, nothing that would require an action.
Yeah, anything that would require any sort of exertion would cause that whole day to be lost. And that's like the crazy thing because if your players go into a dungeon and like 2 or 3 of them lose con points, they're leaving the dungeon. Count on that. Because no
Yeah,
player in their right mind, no group of players in their right mind is going to be like, well, I'm down 4 con and I've got all these penalties to my hit points now, but let's keep going. They're like, we're going to town. We are going to town and we're going to
it makes me think of what we're doing right now in the Monday game
rest
because
because
of that.
this sucks.
Oh,
From 4th edition, actually. Adolescent, he's worried he won't be able to play. Just, I mean, I'm a super nice DM, so I would let him make a character of the same level of the character that died, but a new one.
They can
And
play the white.
since he's a young guy, I would just explain to him, hey, we're playing D&D here, and you need to understand that the adventuring life can be very lethal. You know,
yes.
I mean,
Well, again, like I said, Monday game we had somebody die.
yeah. See, I would go so far as to say that your average D&D adventurer would have to be insane.
Maybe.
Well, think
Or
about it.
really hard up.
Who in their right mind would actually choose to go into, like, say, an ancient tomb or something when you know for a fact that the undead exist? It's not like real life, exploring a pyramid and being like, because in real life, if you go into this tomb doing your archaeology bullshit or just raiding it, you're
Yeah.
probably not going to actually run into anything that's going to kill you, really, right?
Well, to be fair, clerics have holy magic, mages have their arcane magic, and there's things like that.
Yeah, but it's not a matter of being fair. It's just a matter of, yeah, you've got magic, you've got tools. Okay. Well, you would still have to be crazy to be like, hey, there's this dungeon over here and it's full of monsters that love to murder and eat people. Let's go in there. Like, because I think your average person would be like, no, I'm going out back. I'm going to till up the freaking ground, maybe plant some cabbage seeds. But what I'm not going to do is go in this dungeon and possibly get ate by an ogre.
And what? Disappoint Crom for not using his talents that he gave you to kill the monsters? You want me to live that dishonor?
Oh my god. Yeah, but you could be honoring Crom by raiding neighboring villages and stealing their women and shit.
One good dungeon can, set someone up for life if they were going to retire and just, buy land and grow cabbages. But then the game would be boring as shit.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, out of game, yeah, that'd be boring if everybody just played.
I'd play it. I'm not gonna lie, I'd play it. I'd sit down and play it, but
I mean, yeah, I sometimes like to become merchant sim or play a merchant sim every once in a while, but sometimes you have to go out and kill monsters.
Well, if you want to play Merchant Sim, play Traveler. No matter how you start Traveler off, it always ends up with you. You're a merchant. You're transporting shit between star systems, selling stuff, or maybe sometimes selling your own self as a mercenary or something.
sounds like Alpha Blue now.
Yeah. For example, the 8th level character roll die 8. See, what I do, Squirrel Hermit, and you've probably heard me say this before, is I let the character have however much XP that he had when he died and make a new character. Now, if you're playing certain editions of the game, it doesn't matter because there's a unified XP chart, right? But if you're playing the version of the game I play, if like a 7th level barbarian died and the player decided they wanted to come back as a thief, they'd be like 10th level. Just because of the difference between the XP the character is required to level up. So like if Haas's cleric ever dies, he will probably come back as a lower level character because clerics level fast in this game. They require like 500 less XP per level to start than a fighter. So yeah, if he chose to be a fighter, he probably would be a lower level fighter than he is as a cleric. But hey, like I said, I am a nice GM. I'm not at the table to try and F people over and make their lives miserable. But I will kill the shit out of them if they do stupid shit.
Fair. Like
And my wife plays with me, and I've killed her character multiple times.
If anything, James, I'm around 18,000 away from leveling up again.
Nice. I don't know what they are. They just most of them, not all of them, hit level 4, and in this game, that's like a big jump. It's like level 1 to 2 is super easy, and 2 to 3 is pretty easy, and then 4 is like you got to work for it a little bit. But then between 4 and 5, might take them a couple months.
Yeah. 4 is not that bad, but getting from 5 to 6, it's like there's where you're getting a little bit hard.
But it makes sense though if you think about Tim, since it's at 5th level that you get your first 3rd level spell.
Oh yeah.
And 3rd level spells, that's where the ass kicking starts happening. That's where you get your fireballs and your lightning bolts and haste.
Dispel magic.
Oh yeah, all that shit. So,
it's a personal favorite of mine.
This game only goes to level 14.
Yeah, I might switch my spell, but I do like having the idea of having that anime statue. Make a spell scroll of it.
Well, Hungar prayed to his deity to get the curse spell.
Maybe I should do that.
And you know why? What?
Yeah, maybe I should get the curse spell.
Because in this game, if you're a mage and you want to learn a spell, you got to spend like weeks and find a mage that knows the spell and is willing to train you the spell, blah, blah, blah. If you're a cleric, all you got to do is like pay like a bunch of money and pray for a period of time, and then your deity will just give you the spell.
I'm so happy that Dragon Slayer's not like that.
Easier.
Every night I can just pray for new spells, and it's whatever level spells I can cast, I can actually change to.
See, in Hyperborea, your cleric has a finite set of spells. Clerics actually carry a spell book. and it's their holy book of the spells that they know, right? So you can't just have access to the whole list all the time. You have to pick. And then in the morning or the evening, depending on your deity, you pray, and that's when you pick which spells you actually have ready. And Hungar got the curse spell, and you know why, don't you, Tim?
Yeah, I remember why he was wanting that spell.
So he could purposely curse another member of his party to be impotent.
God, it's
Now, the
700.
curse only lasts 2.5 hours, so guess what? He's memorizing it twice.
So it'll
And
cost me 750 gold plus 3 weeks to get the spell.
yeah,
Scroll.
because the Atlantean in the group is married to a Hyperborean woman who, according to a curse, has to be a good wife or she'll turn back into a grizzled, ugly old walnut of a hag. But since Hungar's character is also Hyperborean, he considers it an insult that a Hyperborean should have to, lay with a subhuman Atlantean. So he's going to make it where that doesn't happen. I can't wait to see how this all turns out because, like I said, the players I play with, they make running games fun because they just freaking.
You know exactly how that's going to turn out. If he's impotent, it's going to involve the butt. It's going to have to do booty stimulation if they want to create some Atlantean Hyperborean hybrid.
Oh no, Atlanteans can't reproduce with any other breed of human, and Hyperboreans cannot either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're humans, but Atlanteans actually have gills, like hidden. You can't see them, but they have gills. So they're Aquaman. They can breathe underwater. And Hyperboreans are basically whatever Elric of Mount Benet was. They're all like 7 foot tall, bone white, pale haired with purple eyes, and they hate everybody.
Okay, I thought Hungar was like crusading to prevent mulatto Hyperborean gill people.
No, he just see. Here's the thing: they tried to talk Hungar into marrying this hag when she was a hag, and he said no. So when the mage married her, specifically only so she would teach him spells, and he put the magic ring on her, she turned back to her true form, which is an incredibly attractive Hyperborean woman who also happened to be like a level 5 witch. And as soon as that happened, Hungar was like, "Oh, this is no." So now you've got basically the Hyperborean cleric who worships Desagua, and he's, I guess, jealous about the fact that. But if he just because of the nature of her curse, if like he just murders the guy or something, she'll turn back into an old hag again until someone else willingly marries her, right? So there's just a lot going on. What's up, PB? How you doing, bro?
Hey, Paul.
So that's part of the internal tension in the group. And then you've got the Spartan, and he does not care about anything but stabbing shit with his spear and banging chicks in every town he goes to. And no, I'm not a weirdo. I do not describe any acts. I go to black on that shit. But I mean, we're all adults, at least 35. So if one of the players decides they want to pick a chick up, I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, it's your game. Knock yourself out. But don't tell me what you're doing because that is weird. But if you want to say the next morning you walk out of the room with your hair tousled up and a post-coital glow, I'll allow it. But don't make it weird. I'm not wanting to play erotic D&D with a bunch of guys and my wife and another couple girls now.
I still have that somewhere, the book of erotic fantasy.
Yeah, I knew a guy that had it, and I read through it,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah, it's
Why would you
awful.
want it? It's just terrible.
Well,
I read
there was
through it, and I
a
never hung
comic
out with
store
that guy
that
again.
was going out of business, and everything was priced to move. So we were just grabbing everything.
Right. Yep, a dude invited me to his house to play the game, and he had that rule book, so I never went back.
The goblin STDs are kind of funny.
Well, I mean, it was also awkward because his wife offered to sleep with me, and I was just like, yeah, no.
Telling you, man, you got that Riz. You got that flash business, man.
Well, this would be
Unbelievable.
30. Would be like 30 years ago. So, yeah.
Don't matter. Don't matter.
Back then, I was,
I'm dying.
you know, when I wore a younger man's clothes, to quote Billy Joel. And I had no morals or anything except for one. And that one moral was I never would sleep with like someone I know's girlfriend because that was messed up, you know.
I didn't have the girlfriend rule. I had the wife rule. I had the sanctity of marriage rule.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This
These two were married.
Okay,
and
I didn't
just
have the
like,
girlfriend rule, man. We were. It's kind of a small town. Everybody dates everybody at some point.
right. I worked with this guy, and he would come into work every day and he would complain about all the stuff his wife wouldn't do with him in bed. And it pissed me off so bad because I didn't want to hear about. So
Yeah.
one day he's up on the backhoe and I'm in the ditch, and he is just going on, and he's talking about, and she never lets me do this or that, blah blah blah. And I finally just looked him right in the eyes and I said, "That's weird, man, because every time I'm over there, she lets me do all that." And he looked like he wanted to jump off that damn backhoe, but he didn't. But he looked like he wanted to. And then I told him, I was like, "Yeah, you don't want to hear it either, do you?" So no, you know, I don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. And I had to do it again at the fire department because these guys would come in and they'd brag about how good their wife was at certain things. And I finally would be like, "Are you advertising? Like, if she's so good at these things, are you like I need to go over there and try it out myself, or do I just take your word, right?" You know, and I was like, we all get together for Christmas parties every year, the whole fire department, right? I said, "Do you want me sitting across the table from your wife, imagining her, you know, doing these things you're talking about?"
I mean, there is a difference between man talk, guy talk, and just being disgusting.
I don't think there's a difference. If you're married to a chick, you don't tell anybody anything. That's between you and her.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't have to be overtly sexual, but like,
right. Yeah, I'll talk shit about an ex and all their weird kinks and whatever, but yeah, I was a hell of a peach, Paul. I was a fuzzy little man peach. That actually sounds dirty, doesn't it? But
man peach means something.
well, what came to mind was old Greg, but now I realize that man peach is like your butt, right?
That's what you would think it is, but
because old Greg was trying to like hook up with this dude that had been fishing, and he kept calling him a furry little man peach.
It's a term for a very young gay male. is a peach.
Well, that can't be me though, because I'm not very young.
Basically, the gray area of 17 to 18. They call
let's not talk about this.
Yeah, well,
I don't want to talk about this. But to answer Coochie though, yes, Hyperborean women tend to be about 6.5 or taller, and they either have platinum blonde hair or black hair, and they always have purple eyes, like lavender purple eyes, and their skin is perfect and almost bone white. So, uh, additionally, they're super racist against everyone else. So, the Hyperborean woman married to the Atlantean man, she does not love him. But part of the deal of her being back to her original form and everything is she has to be a good wife with everything that entails. So now you've got the Hyperborean man in the group that's trying to jack up the wedding and everything. And he's doing it because of racial reasons. He's being a racist because he cannot stand to see one of his women being, that way with what he would consider to be a subhuman. I mean, because Hyperboreans consider most other humans to barely be better than apes. So, yes. So if you're one of those people that are all like, there can't be any racism in my game, well, you don't want to play Hyperborea. Because literally everyone hates everyone to some degree. Like the Celts.
I'm finding that as I read.
Yeah, the Celts absolutely despise the Vikings. The Norse, they have good reason.
I was
the Norse
pleasantly surprised to see some Anglo-Saxon representation.
Yeah, of course. There's Anglo-Saxons, Carolingian Franks.
I always get the short end of the stick. And they deserve it, but you know what? We were busy. Sorry.
What about the Norman representation?
Yeah.
Norman representation is almost the same damn thing. It's just the white trash Norwegians and the Anglicans hooked up to try to sack Paris, and they failed because they suck. Meanwhile, the Saxons were being awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you could play Norman. Like I said, one guy in my group is literally playing a Spartan.
They're both cool. And Spartans are...
When the volcano blew up the Isle of Lycodania, which is where the Spartans are actually from, well, a big chunk of it got sent through time and space and ended up in Hyperborea.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, that's how Hyperborea works as a setting. Like the Cimmerian people, who you might call the Cimmerian people, who worship Crom.
I've heard
they
both.
Were fleeing from the Scythians in what is now modern day Ukraine, and they ran through like the whole Ravenloft thing. They fled through a valley that was full of fog, and when they came out, they're in Hyperborea. So in the world of Hyperborea, which you got the atlas, but you'll find all of the things about the world at the back of the DM book. You could literally run into Conan in Hyperborea.
That reminds me. I got a really cute picture to share to the Discord of my kitty taking a nap on it.
Oh, kitty.
I left it there unattended for literally 5 minutes. Came in and his big black ass was sprawled out on it, and I'm like, all right, dude.
You know how cats are, man. They gotta.
Yeah. Can't leave a box, can't leave a book. And
a lot of it is they have to make sure they're more important than whatever it was you were dealing with before. So it's like if he saw you reading the book and then you set the book down, he has to lay on the book to establish dominance over the book as far as who gets your affection. Because cats are little women in fur coats in the way they behave. But so right now I'm putting a primer coat on some giant grouper, which I keep complaining about. I should send Reaper a message about these guys.
That sounds so good. Anything sounds so fucking good right now.
Well,
grouper.
Yeah, the reason I should complain is these are supposed to be like giant groupers, but we actually have North Atlantic colossal grouper off the coast of Florida. They're about 2 or 3 times the size of this.
Okay, is that like large scale, like 28 millimeter? Like,
Yeah,
okay, that's kind of like on the larger side, but that's not a giant grouper. They're not even close.
yeah. They used to call them Jewfish like 20 years ago, and then they changed the name to colossal grouper. And
Maybe Jews ate a lot of grouper because they're kosher.
I don't know why they ever called them that. To be perfectly honest with you, I can't figure it out, and I never looked it up.
It
But I
sounds
know
like a
I had a
fishmonger.
fishing book, and it
Yeah,
had the names. Um,
like something a fishmonger would say. Like the Jews buy this fish a lot, so it's the
well,
Jew fit.
I
I don't
don't
know.
know because I don't know of anyone who ever ate a colossal grouper.
Or just like grouper. Is it colossal grouper or grouper in general that was called that?
No, just this specific type of grouper.
Oh, I don't
And
know
they,
that.
they get as big as a Volkswagen.
Oh yeah.
Like you can go on YouTube and type up divers encountering these things off the coast of Florida,
Yeah.
and they'll get 8 feet long, easy, you know. And I guess if one of them really wanted to eat you, there's not much you could do about it. But
That cat. They think it was a big catfish that grabbed that bridge diver in Bosnia.
oh yeah.
That was a scary video. Like he jumped off the bridge. He was, everybody was like, "Wow, look at that!" And then he just went whoop underwater, and they never saw him again.
Yeah, Skillet, you already know I have strong opinions about catfish.
Yeah.
I grew up in Kentucky on the Cumberland. I've seen catfish that would scare your ass. And divers say they've seen catfish down there that were as big as a damn boxcar.
I believe it. I would not doubt it.
And
It's the only
so I
fish
don't-
that is
yeah,
found in every body of water everywhere on planet Earth.
right.
So I'm guessing
So-
you never went catfishing.
Right.
Catfishing? Me? All the fucking
No.
time.
No, catfish.
He's
Oh,
talking about
noodling?
noodling, which is
Noodling?
really
Hell no, dude.
don't
This
do
is
it
Georgia, dude. There's parasites and dead bodies in the water. I ain't getting in that fucking water.
Yeah, noodlers. The first rule of noodling is never put your head underwater when you reach up into the stage to try to grab fish. Because if it's like a 5 foot channel cat or blue cat, you dive underwater and put your arm in there and it grabs in and decides it don't want to come out, it ain't coming out. And it ain't letting go. And you drowned.
I could
And then
think
eventually
better,
it lets go
creative,
and
more
you
fun
float up.
ways to die.
Yeah, and then eventually it will let go and you'll float up and float around until somebody finds you. But I mean, that kind of shit happens, man.
Yeah,
As
I
a
definitely
matter of
never
fact,
would go
you
noodling.
reminded me. My next report order has 2 gigantic catfish in it, and they're bigger than this shark.
So, aboleths.
They're called giant gulpers, but
Giant
they're just
gulpers.
big freaking catfish.
Catfish can get really big.
Whose responsibility is it to keep track of XP? As a DM, I keep track of all the XP I award, and then the players are expected to write it down on their damn sheets and keep track of their own XP. However, if they mess up, I always have the total. And if we have to go back and figure out, like, because I write down how much XP they earned each session. And Grant, we play pretty long sessions, 4 hours or so. So I keep track of all that. Yeah.
Not
But
according
they're
to these
supposed to
numbers.
keep track of it themselves. Mr. DM Bloodworth.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going,
I
guys?
was just answering Coochie's question on who keeps track of XP.
Who keeps track of it? I have everybody keep track of it. I keep track of it. Why I keep track of not the individual character XP, because sometimes they have like a 5% bonus or a 10% bonus, but I keep track of the I keep basically a session log for
That's exactly
every
what
single
I
game
said.
that I run, and I'll put XP gained, the different types of XP as well, and then notes, significant events or treasure gained and whatnot. Who showed up for what sessions depending on the game system. So I started doing that because some of the character sheets on Roll20, they don't maintain the experience points, in their boxes and everything. Like, I know I have to tell Leah in my group. I was like, no, you write it in 10 different places because for some reason hers always drops her experience points.
Well, what you said is exactly what I described to Coochie. That I write down at the end of every session, I write down the session number. I've got a book especially for it, and I write down how much was earned.
Yeah.
Now, if they've got their 5 or 10% bonus, which I think the cleric does because he's got like a 17 wisdom, that's on them. But the good thing is if they ever lose control of it, I have the total. Yeah. Here's another question this guy asked. His DM's trying to figure out a first level character got whacked by a white. So the DM's trying to figure out whether he should kill the player or have the player become a 0 level human.
Well, if he was brought to 0 by the white, then within what is it, like 48 hours, he's going to rise as a white?
It's something like dice 6 turns even.
I don't know if it's that fast, is it? Well, it depends on the system, I guess.
Right.
I didn't think it was that fast, but you might be right.
But his play, the DM's thinking maybe you're just making like a classless, schmuck, because in the system they're running, 0 level characters are a thing. And I'm not going to say his DM's wrong. I know what I do, but
was he killed by was he brought below 0 by the white?
He was. He had plenty of hit points. He just went from level 1 to 0.
Oh, then he would go to 0.
Yeah, that's your ruling.
Yeah, then he would go to 0. If he was killed, then he's coming back as a white. Right. No, he would be brought to 0. 0 level.
Yeah, I believe what Coochie said, and if he wants to, he can explain it again. The guy had like 3 hit points left. I mean, he was still fighting, but
all right.
So now he has no class or anything.
Right.
Well, they haven't made their mind up yet what they're doing.
Yeah, the only thing what I would do is in that case, because if but he was first level to begin with.
Right.
So did he have a con bonus?
See, I don't know any. I didn't ask.
Yeah. So I would just have him. I would have him as a 0 level with 3 hit points, the same hit points, and then look to see what his hit points would be as a 0 level with any con bonus that he'd have, and go with that. I know some other systems are doing a lot of other things with level drain.
Right.
And I'm even kind of like contemplating doing something a little different with it as well. As instead of reducing you by levels, they do a real like a life like absorption kind of thing. So they when they hit you, they'll drain you for a full hit die worth of hit points, right?
Right.
And they gain that same hit die worth of hit points,
right?
Even above their maximum, so they're like supercharged with that, negative energy, kind of thing. So
freaking life tapping your ass.
Well, yeah, it's like they're sapping your life out. They're building themselves up, and I forget which system does it like that. And then there's you have to make a death save in order to take in order not to take the full amount of points drained. And that will only save you by half. Yeah,
it's all about like attribute drains.
Yeah, there's other ones that do attribute drains, right? Like they'll
So the white
drain
hits you, you lose die 4 con.
or
And it
strength
gets-
or
it gets
anything.
2
Yes.
attacks per round.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another one I've seen as well.
Yeah.
It's so many different systems. I don't know where I've actually seen them.
It all kind of runs together, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like when you have like 5 different systems that all have, energy drain, each of them have like a slightly different way of doing it. So, but I kind of like those ideas. I like the draining attributes, and then if you get down to 0 on that, you're dead.
Right.
And unrecoverable.
Right.
Dead.
Yeah, that's in Hyperborea. If you hit 0, you are dead.
Yeah.
You come back as white. And even if you survive, it takes a full day of rest to regain 1
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes the white, in my opinion, even scarier for higher level characters.
Yeah.
So you might have a character that's like, if I lose a level, I'll just get a restoration, right? But if they hit you for 5 con, all of a sudden you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it could be really interesting if your class has a constitution requirement and you're brought below that con, you lost your class skills as well.
Yeah, that would not be,
And
But
potentially
right
all of your class-based hit die and everything like that will go. You become a 0 level again, and
have to earn enough XP and find somebody to train you to be your class again.
so,
And the other thing we're talking about, which you might find humorous, is in the Hyperborean game.
Mhm.
This Atlantean married this old hag, and it broke a curse, and she become this exceptionally beautiful Hyperborean woman.
nice.
Who's also a 5th level witch.
Yeah.
So the curse says that as long as she wears the ring and is a good wife to him, she'll keep her actual real form instead of looking like a withered up old hag, right?
Cool.
But Hyperborea is an incredibly racist game.
Yes.
Hyperboreans hate everyone. So she don't
Yes.
like her husband, but
Your
she's
pure
good.
blood Hyperboreans are almost like the pure blooded Sith, right? It's like they.
And they look like Elric of Melniboné.
Mhm.
They're like all tall with purple eyes and bone white skin. Well,
Right.
there's a Hyperborean cleric in the group, and he's pretty freaking bent that this Atlantean has this Hyperborean one. So he's memorizing the curse spell twice a day, and every night he's casting curse on the Atlantean to make him impotent.
Oh,
And it's
that's
just
interesting.
like, wow,
Mm.
this is my group. This is the shit they do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right? So. And the whole
interesting.
reason is because he can't stand the idea
Mm.
of his Hyperborean kin being manhandled by a subhuman. Because Hyperboreans consider everyone that's not
Right.
Hyperborean to be subhuman. So,
Hey, meanwhile, my group of dwarves, had to save their mule, Sal, and get him to a place where he could be, neutralize poison on him. And they lost 2 of their party members, trying to get him, get the mule to a safe haven where he could be cured up. Fortunately for them, they, when I randomly rolled up the cleric that was at the place, the cleric happened to be a 10th level cleric. I was able to raise dead on both of them. But
yeah.
it was a very interesting turn of events.
Well,
And I was like, oh, you guys are lucky, because there was like a what was there? There was a
my real concern, Richard, is did the mule get saved?
yes, you did.
Oh, well, then it's okay then.
Yeah, because they had the cure. You see, what I was expecting, like I
I
knew,
mean, I don't care about the dwarves. But
Yeah.
I was worried about.
I
the
put so
goblins.
in OSC the dwarves don't get that AC bonus
right.
when attacked by giants. So I included that, right? I was like, no, these, I want these dwarves to have advantages. I want them to be, they're going out into wilderness. It's an all dwarven campaign, and I was
Right.
like, all right, I'm gonna bring that over from AD&D, so they will have a bonus to AC when attacked by pure giants, not any of the other things, but just giants.
Right.
And so it's a first level party. There was only 5 of them, and I figured, well, if they're fighting a hill giant with this boost to their AC, the hill giant will have a hard time hitting them. But
But
if the hill giant does hit them, there's a good chance that each of them are going to die.
Yeah.
Only the dwarven ranger, who is 3rd level, could take the full hit. But the other ones, there was just a very good chance that they wouldn't be able to take the 2 to 16 damage, and so 2 died. But I was like, I was happy that the battle went the way it did, because it would have been less impactful if they just steamrolled, like the first hill giant they defeated without taking a single hit.
Damn.
But it was the second one that ended up killing 2 of them. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, it's a good thing the third one wasn't there.
I like the fact that you let your dwarves be rangers, because like in AD&D you couldn't.
Right.
And I have always loved the idea of like a dwarf ranger that specializes in patrolling the under highways.
Yeah.
Of the dwarf holds and stuff. And so like basically a ranger, but under dark ranger. And it just seems so natural. Like that should just be a thing.
Well, OSC doesn't specifically say dwarves can't be rangers, or anything can't be a ranger.
Well, as the DM, you can make anything.
Of course, yeah.
I'm just saying that, AD&D didn't let them, and I always thought that was like, why couldn't a dwarf be a ranger? They're always running around caverns and looking for stuff. I mean, they're if any class should be a ranger, it's probably a dwarf. Or if any race should be a ranger, it's probably a dwarf. Because they're always the ones that are going into caverns and shit, scouting around looking for stuff.
Yeah. Well, specifically, I mean, they would be selecting their chosen enemy, which actually OSC doesn't have that for rangers.
Right.
But
chosen enemy, goblin or something.
Yeah, they would choose something that is very normal for them to have chosen for their particular region.
And then they would run messages between the dwarven holds through the under highway.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much where this ranger was coming from. He was attached to this outpost that they were trying to get to break through to get to, and so it was on their way, a random encounter that they got attacked by a giant wasp, and luckily for them, the wasp had attacked the mule and stung the mule, and then I secretly rolled the die to see how many days the mule will survive, and the mule was going to die within 2 days, and they just happened to be like a day and a half away from the outpost. So I was like, all right, well, they're going to get out to the outpost. And then when I started planning on, well, what's going on with this outpost? Why was the outpost cut off from the main dwarven city, 3 days journey away? And so I was like, all right, let me throw a couple giants at them. And I says, I'll set it up where there's already 2 dead giants, and they were taken out by most of the garrison of the outpost, but the outpost is in a shambles now, and there's not that many left. And so I just had 2 giants, hill giants, set up there waiting for them. Well, just there for them to encounter. And like I said, they defeated the first one not super quick, but they defeated the first one. I think they got a couple critical hits in there, and that took the Giant down pretty good. And then, like I said, the second one, they finally, they clashed with that one, and it wasn't two back-to-back hits, but I think it was two hits fairly close to one another, where it was just like bang, dead. I was like, oh, one of the players wasn't actually present, so I was controlling his character as an NPC. So I'm not sure if that player is coming back anyway. So I do have room in that Saturday. It's alternating Saturday evenings.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody, I'll let other people know. Is Leth in it?
No, I sadly couldn't be.
No.
You couldn't be in that one.
It's
yeah. Tim came over to my my Castles and Crusades on Tuesday nights.
Right.
Yeah.
See,
Other than that, but I already had a
Saturday is
stream.
when I run Hyperborea. So, What's up, Satya? I hope everything's doing great in Finland.
Yeah, and I got that Life Wolf game on Saturday, and it just barely overlaps with his, so I couldn't join it.
I mean, an all dwarf game. Don't get me wrong. I
Sounds
would
fun.
love it, and
I'd love it
and
too.
if I could play a ranger, I would especially love it because I've already got I wouldn't write down and expect you to read what I'm thinking about my character's background, but my head would be full of stuff. Like scouting around, and because you figure goblins might collapse parts of tunnels, or they might be waiting to ambush you while you're carrying messages. I mean, that could almost be a campaign just in itself. Dwarves keeping the underways cleared of goblins and trolls, because trolls, now I'm just getting into the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay mindset. Trolls and goblins tend to hang out. So that would be a good favorite enemy for a dwarf ranger, troll.
Right.
And you could even look at Tolkien for that. They've got a stone troll or whatever, cave troll. But it sounds like a lot of fun. I keep talking about when I run this and that, but I told the guys, I was like, I'm probably never running anything else, because my group, and more importantly, myself, we're having so much fun playing Hyperborea that it's like, I haven't had this much fun playing a game in running a game. But I think it's because I've always tried to talk them into playing like a full Call of Cthulhu type game, and they'd only do like one shots. And now they're in Hyperborea, which is basically D&D Call of Cthulhu. So it's like, I'm all like, this is perfect for me, man. I ran them through rats in the walls. They're up in Zambala trying to fight the cult of Zog, that, the god of cannibalism from the Conan setting. And all of the slaves in Zambala, for some reason, are Eskimo. And a lot of them grind. Calm down, you. A lot of them grind their teeth down into points, Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. I know.
But and then the people who actually run the city, the merchants and everything, they're like Scythians or something like that. So you've got basically two different races in the city, a two-tiered system, and a lot of the slaves are members of the cult, and a lot of slaves aren't. But the slaves that aren't members of the cult don't talk shit about members of the cult. You know what I mean? And then some of the merchants have set their taverns up so that there's secret doors into some of the guest rooms. And the cult gives them money so they can go into a guest room in the middle of the night and kidnap travelers. Because how they keep from getting crushed by the actual rulers of Zambala is they only take travelers.
Yeah.
And then all of the travelers' gear they fence off to the merchants, and then that money gets paid to the tavern keepers because they don't care about the money or the gear. They just want the meat to sacrifice to their evil god. So there's like a whole economy based on this cannibalist cult. You know, it's crazy, right? But which that adventure I know for a fact was based on an old Savage Sword Conan adventure, except to the Eskimo, it was Darfar people from Darfar, so black people. And in the end, Conan ended up like gagging the tavern keeper and putting him in the room that the slave went in, and they ended up cooking and eating the tavern keeper. And Conan just stuck a bunch of wine and left. So yeah, that's the kind of shit we're up to, Bloodworth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a bunch of games I'm working on. So I'm just like looking through and looking at my my groupings of games. So I run Deadlands every other Thursday. Tonight's our game night.
Yep.
I'm running Villains and Vigilantes like Thursday early afternoon. First one is going to be next week, next Thursday, with the OGGM just created a character. He's going to be in there.
Yeah, OGGM pretty much hates my guts.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, good. He let me know he hates my guts. So.
Oh.
I don't hate his stuff.
No. I'm running my Dragon Slayer on Tuesday nights, and then I'm preparing Castles and Crusades for my Tuesday nights next September.
Nice.
So I got a pretty full plate.
What's that?
I can't wait for the Castles and Crusades. Arcane Thief is going to be awesome.
Yeah. The Arcane Thief should be a lot of fun. Plus, I'm doing a lot with, Greyhawk City because it's an urban campaign. So there's a lot. Like I'm really taking Greyhawk and I'm like, because it's a city that is just so well known for magic and the Circle of Eight and everything that it was governed by a mad archmage, demigod.
They
for
had
a number of years
in a dungeon for a while.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have it where magic is something that's going to be pretty a pretty interesting thing there in the city, so I mean there'll be street lamps that are magically in the nicer quarters, magically enhanced street lamps.
Well, I mean, continual light, right?
Yeah. Well, I want to make it a little bit different than that, so not just a continual light. They will turn off during the daytime and come back on again at night, and can change different colors if they wanted to or whatever. Just like a, they'll be much more modified than just a simple continual light. But it will be illegal for arcane thieves to steal from that magic. Just so you know. So
I know, I'm getting it.
Yeah, and then
do you have the Iggsburg book?
Yes, I do have the Iggsburg book, and to be honest with you, it's not Greyhawk City, Iggsburg. As much as it's not Greyhawk, and it's just not it doesn't have the same feel to it as Greyhawk did. So,
I've used it as a stand-in for Greyhawk in some games, but
yeah, its map doesn't. I found better maps for Greyhawk. And that it's just not Greyhawk. It's Iggsburg. It's just not Greyhawk. So
I've been showing the guys in
cool.
the chat what I've been working on.
Yeah.
So This is a mammoth
Mm-hmm.
with what's that called? Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I'm getting
in Hyperborea, for whatever reason, mammoths are like not an uncommon draft animal.
yeah,
But
it's
also,
whatever.
they run wild in the plateau of Ling and stuff, and the big
Mhm.
ones will kill you.
Yeah.
And they're like 18 hit dice, so you don't want to go up against like a 20-foot tall man. It'll stomp you into the mud.
Yeah, don't want to do that either.
Yeah. And my group, they went deep down in a dungeon and they captured a monster and they questioned it. And the monster told them there were gugs ahead, so they immediately left. At first, they didn't know what a gug was, but then the mage made a advanced intelligence check or whatever and rolled a 0-1. So I explained what gugs were and I showed him, the miniature. And they're all like, yeah, we don't want any of that. So they left. And the cleric was so mad, he was calling them all cowards. Because that's how the cleric is. I mean, he's a weird cleric. He's got healing spells, but he runs around in armor with a great warhammer, a two-handed warhammer. Just, he likes to fight. But he'll heal when he needs to. And he will spitefully curse his own group members. He was telling me, Haas was telling me he's thinking about charging people who don't follow his religion for heal spells. It's like, really? That's kind of an ass move.
Hey,
Yeah.
it could be worse. Again, so many, like I've heard some stories about like AD&D allowing certain clerics being like worshiping the god of death or something, and them being like, "Oh, you better pray to my god, or I won't heal you at all."
Yeah.
It's like it's just annoying you with that too.
To be honest, I would have to look up in the book again to see what the Sagwa is even the god of.
Eh,
Since he spends like 99% of his time just sitting on his fat ass, not doing anything, it's like, what is he? I mean, Cthulhu, we know what he's the god of, like chaos and bullshit.
Yeah.
We know what.
Sagwa, he's
But
the
yeah.
god of sloth and just greed. I don't know.
Right. And you could walk in the cavern where he is, and you got 50-50 chance of him ignoring you or grabbing you and eating you.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Sloth and gluttony, it sounds like.
Yeah. But he's a
He
neutral
also
god.
had a small cult in Scotland, in I believe I don't remember if it was 4th or 5th edition of Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
He's got a cult in Scotland, and it's third party stuff, but he is big time enemies with Nodens, as most of them are, because Nodens keeps hunting them.
And Nodens
tries
is
to.
like an ancient Celtic god.
And he's one of the I think he's a intermediate outsider god or whichever. He had 2 or 3 stat blocks on
And
him.
if I remember, Nodens, who does and can exist in Hyperborea, is like big time with night gaunts or some shit.
And hunting Nyarlathotep, his true prey.
Yeah, those two hate each other pretty good. I mean, half the gods in the Hyperborea book, though, are just the Greek gods. If you read through it, you'll see that. Even the ones that aren't named after the Greek gods are actually the Greek gods. So, like Rand, the god of thieves, is Hermes. And it tells you that later in the DM book, And like the god of murder is actually Ares. So, but I think he did that because they say when H.P. Lovecraft was a young man, he actually worshipped the Greek gods and had built like a altar to Demeter and all that on his property.
Maybe.
And then later he decided not to do that. But
Because, I mean, to tell you the truth, it sounds like a very New England thing. Like,
right, it was like
let's worship ancient pantheons. Okay. That
right.
sounds very New England.
It was like, all right. I mean, we're in Rhode Island, so we ain't got much else to do. Actually, no, I think that's when he lived on his grandfather's property in Massachusetts.
I need to look up and see if they put it back.
But then he did move to Providence. And for a while he lived in New York City when he was married, but he hated New York City. And then when his wife moved to Chicago, he wouldn't go with her because, you know.
Went to Appalachia too, and he almost, I think I read it was he almost got arrested in Florida.
I mean, yeah. The pulp author that could make it in the South is obviously R.E. Howard. Since he lived in Texas, he'd be fine, pretty much.
Hey James, I got a question for you. Since you got a lot of expertise in like old school gaming.
Well, okay. Put me on the spot here.
It's more about what I want to do with this certain character in Bloodsworth's Castles and Crusades game. And I want to know what you think would be cooler. The dwarf fighter who steals spells, basically. Or should I go more of a thief character, pick a gnome, and be just an expert in killing goblins?
I'd go with the gnome goblin slayer.
Gnome goblin slayer, okay. I'll make my character just a big thief who goes around sneaking around and killing goblins.
Oh, making him a gnome fighter that kills goblins and call yourself the goblin slayer.
I can't go fighter. I'm going to have to go arcane thief. But I'll
shows no mercy.
I will show no mercy, though.
You can be like, goblins.
Goblins? That's basically what I'm going to be doing a lot. Yeah. Just be like, goblins.
Wait. Let's talk more about that sweet, sweet 30% more dead goblins.
Yes.
I got to talk to my partner. He walks over and just starts talking to the table. It's like, wow.
I'm going to make it into his backstory. That's why he's not like an actual mage. Why he, didn't become a full mage was literally because his master got killed by goblins.
And yeah, and he's insane.
Yes.
So, Coochie, I don't know if Bloodworth is or not, and when he comes back, he will be able to answer you. I'm probably going to watch it. I don't intend on like actually running anything or like, being a part of any online games, but I'll definitely watch it. But then again, I watch Dungeon Delver's show quite a bit, actually. I mean, I don't watch his show as much as I watch like Shadow or like that, but I do watch his show. I'm not counting Double D, since Double D usually only does 1 or 2 a week, and Dave does like every night. But anyway, there was a question for you, DM Bloodworth.
What's up?
Coochie wants to know if you're attending GUOGC. So, Dungeon Delvers. Like
I only recently became aware of it just from all the controversy and everything. So, when is that? In May or April?
I don't know, because like I was saying, I watched Dungeon Delver's show, but I don't know. Dean Powell, Henlo.
What is the what's the initials of that thing again? GUGAUC.
Yeah. Sounds like something you would name a Coatoan. But Dave does this like online convention and all this stuff.
It's not coming up. I must have it wrong. It's the
GUOG.
underground. It's the underground gaming convention or something.
Yeah, it should be here in Orlando, but he does it mostly. It's online a lot. I hear my wife in the kitchen doing something. What are you in there doing? Yes, you, wife. Are you making that zucchini stuff?
Yes,
Nice.
that's what you're having for dinner.
Nice. I like that.
What's
zucchini.
it? G-U-A-G. G-U-A-G.
GU, like
A-G.
golf uniform,
GU.
Oscar
Yeah.
Golf, Charlie.
It is, yeah. So G-U-A-G. All right, let's see.
That's right. It's been like 30 years, but your boy still remembers the phonetic alphabet. I could probably still shoot an azimuth too. It's weird, the stuff you don't ever forget.
You know,
Yeah.
it just makes me think of that whole what was it? There was like that whole Battlefield cartoon that somebody made, and it's like, oh, you mean Dracula?
I'm still not
Dracula.
finding the darn thing.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to find it myself.
Yeah, it doesn't come up as it comes up as narrow gauge convention. It's just not coming up.
Right. Well, I mean, if
Maybe
you
there's
ever
not a
talk
website
to-
for it. There
if
might
you
not be a
ever-
website for it.
Oh, April 12th weekend. And Harmony Ginger's involved, if you talk to her at all.
I never
But
actually
Dungeon
have.
Delver is putting it together, and I mean,
Yeah, no, I know he puts it together.
he's really approachable. So it's like,
I'll approach him. I just, like I said, it's like April 12th. So looking at my April schedule, I have a convention April 18th, April 24th and 25th, or 25th and 20, April 24th, 25th. I'm coming home on the 26th.
are you
So-
going up to like Upstate Con or whatever?
No, that's in June.
Oh,
No, these two in April are two Massachusetts conventions, the OSR Con and then Rising Phoenix.
they're not in Boston, are they?
No, they're a little bit north of Boston.
Good. Boston's my most hated city.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of idiot decided to make everything curving and one way?
Oh,
It's like, it's not that I hate the people in Boston. I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
I
I've
can go
never
up
been
there
to
and-
That
I've never
does
been
sound
to
horrible.
Boston itself.
Yeah. I don't hate the Bostonians or the massholes. It's just the city, man. If you miss an off ramp in Boston, you're going to drive like 20 miles to circle all the way back around and hope you get off at the right. I mean,
That
and if you
sounds
go to
just
Southie at
horrible.
all, the streets are narrow and everyone's parking their cars on the curb. So it's like, if you're a nervous driver, you're trying not to take somebody's side mirror off.
What kind of nightmare place is this?
I'll tell you what, in like city planning courses in college, they use Boston as
As
an
what not to do?
example of how not to make a city.
That's fair.
And
That
they
sounds like
use New
torture.
York City as an example of how to make a city. Because love or hate New York City, it's laid out in a grid. And if somebody gives you their address, you will be able to find it. I mean,
Fair enough.
it's just not that hard. But Boston's a bunch of big loops, and every street is one way. And some of the one-way streets actually hit other one-way streets, so that you have to take a left or a right because you can't go straight because that one-way street's coming to you, and you're,
Ooh.
you know what I mean? It's like two one-way streets meeting.
Why? Why would you do that?
Because Boston was put together like, 300 years ago, and they were just doing whatever the hell they wanted, I guess. Whereas the town fathers of New Amsterdam, they were a little bit more,
Careful.
well, yeah,
Poignant.
a little bit more on the ball.
Yeah. It sounds like the Boston people were just trying to make everybody hate it.
I think if you look up the history of Boston, it was originally like 4 little villages that somehow all become Boston. So each little village was doing its own shit. New York was the same way, but what New York did is it tore down the old crazy shit and actually built new
New stuff.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
So every time New York grew, it made sure it was grids.
Yeah.
Boston just was like, F it,
Just fuck it, we'll do it. No, who cares?
No one cares.
Until everybody cared because it was terrible.
I think Bostonians don't care. They probably think it's the best.
I don't see how.
They're just up there watching the Bruins, singing, Sweet Caroline, and freaking doing whatever they do.
Well, Bloodsworth, I found out what I'm exactly doing for my Arcane Thief now.
Okay.
It's going to be a Gnome Arcane Thief Goblin Slayer.
Cool.
It's going to be
That sounds cool.
Left cracks himself up so much.
So a gnome.
Left, how long have you
Arcane
been hanging
Thief.
out on this channel with me?
He's going to have like a complete hatred of goblins.
Well, that makes sense as a gnome.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Part of it is that his master, whenever he was trying to become a magic user, died by goblins.
So, vengeance. Yeah, Leth has been hanging out with me on this channel almost every day for freaking
Ever.
Yeah. I don't even remember how long. It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
It's been a little while. Well, I gotta be cool with you though. You're from the Commonwealth, and us, Commonwealth guys, we gotta stick together, right?
Yep.
Even if you're from the flat part.
All right.
That's okay though. If you ever came up to the mountains, you'd be fine.
I don't know. Wouldn't they see me as an outsider unless you spoke up for me?
Well, if you came to where I live, everyone's an outsider unless somebody speaks up for them.
Oh, by the way, that convention, I finally found a link to it. It's a Reddit post. Is May 19th to the 22nd.
Okay.
So it's in May.
I'm sorry you had to
And
go on Reddit.
it's done
though.
on Discord.
Yeah, they're doing it. It's like all online stuff, I think.
Yeah. It's all online. It's but he doesn't have a link to his Discord channel, which doesn't help. But
Fried chicken's probably almost
I'll
done.
reach
I'm gonna
out
have
to
to go
him.
though. I'll see ya.
See you, man.
somebody put the Discord link here. All right. Oh, it didn't work. The Discord link's not there.
My wife's in there watching something about
Anyway,
werewolves.
yeah, I'll see. I will. The last online convention that I kind of missed, it just like slipped out of my mind that it was on that weekend was Avengers Virtual Con.
Oh, I missed that too.
Yeah, I just totally missed that. I was like, oh, all right. So I missed that. And so this one here, if it's in May, I don't know. I'm going to be so focusing on getting ready for my June conventions in May that it's like, all right, I may not do anything in May other than running my games, and that's it.
Right.
And then I decided a couple weeks ago, that my gaming schedule is going to have 2 built-in like 6-week breaks. So I'll do one in like mid-December through all of January and pick up on February 1st, and take another break basically July to mid-August. Because or really start on September 1st or something
Right.
along those lines. Because between the holidays, it's like impossible to get anything going and rolling out, and people got to leave early or can't show up or whatever. So I'm like, you know what, I could always use a break. So every year, if I take off 12 weeks, so basically 3 months, and the other 9 months I'm running games.
Yeah, I mean, take that time off. Go get you a Yule tree. Get you a little Odin to put on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, since I believe that whole Yule thing is from the Vikings.
Oh yes, it is. But yeah, no, we still we have to do the Christmas thing.
Well, the thing with the Christmas thing is like everyone does the Christmas thing, even if they're not.
Yeah. No, I still do the Christmas thing
point,
just for my,
like it's not even a religious thing. It's just
for my wife and kids. They still do the Easter thing. So yeah, we have that coming up.
Which, if I remember what you said, for you that would be Astara.
Yeah,
the goddess of fertility and rebirth and all that. I know a little bit about the Norse mythology.
I'm not like super religious anyway. I mean, I basically have a code that I follow, and it's kind of like it's kind of like the 9 noble virtues, kind of thing. But whether I'm not getting into reading the Poetic Eddas or the none of that. I have it, but
the whole Asatru thing is really big down here.
Yeah.
Like I can go to the mall or something, and any gaming convention, there's always at least a couple guys wearing Thor's hammer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't bother me at all. I do what I do. Like we don't a lot of times, like a lot of things that you would think would be typical for a Christian, we don't do because we don't. Just because orthodoxy is different, you know what I mean?
Right.
But regardless, whatever. Yeah, you're running a shit ton of games, man. I couldn't do that. And when I talk to Shadow with all the games he's in, I'm always like.
Well, that's why a lot of my games are bi-weekly, because I'm in Shadow's Thursday night game. That's why that alternates with Deadlands. And I only alternate the OSC game on Saturdays, so that I'm not running 3 games a week every single week. You know what I'm saying? It's like although I'm kind of leaning towards running that every week too. But
Paul, I live in a very isolated area, and like. Me and my wife still laughs. The first time she and I drove to visit my mom, the first house we passed, they didn't recognize the car.
Mm-hmm.
So the legend of this car that no one recognized coming up the road just went like wildfire through all the little houses. And people were actually like not pleased. But then I stopped at my aunt's house. And of course, she recognized me right away. And I was like, this is my wife, Tracy. And then, the gossip got all around that, hey, the lady driving that car, that's James's wife. And so from then on, when she would drive in or out of the area, everyone would wave and smile. But the first time when they didn't know who she was, they were mean mugging her from the porch. You know what I mean? Like giving you the look like, keep on going. You don't want to stop here, right? But yeah, as soon as they realized she belonged there, then she was in like Flint, But where I'm from doesn't even appear on maps. So, it's just like 100 people on a mountainside in the middle of nowhere. We're not even like a real town. We're not a municipality. Like none of that. We're just a group of people in the county. So if you have a heart attack where I live, you're just going to die because it'll take the fire department a good 30 minutes to get to you. If your house catches on fire, just get whatever you can out because it's going to burn. You know, it's just how it is up there. But I like it. And yeah, Timmy could show up and they'd recognize his accent. He'd be fine. But Kentucky people are very insular. If they catch you on their property, the first thing they want to know is why you're on their property and who sent you. And have a good excuse. You know, it can get hairy really quick. Like when I go on my property, I walk the 30 acres, I take an AK. And the last thing I want to see is another person. I will have them off of there. I'll be like, you need to go back wherever you came from. Because I don't know, they're probably a meth head or something. We got problems with that, you know? And I don't want any meth heads roaming about my property, plotting to steal copper out of my house. Get out of here, you know? But, yeah, you guys do run a lot of games. I run basically my one game. But then me and my wife, we play a lot of board games. I think you and I talked about it. You said your wife wasn't really into the board games or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't do any war games at all.
Yeah.
I just don't have the, you know, I mean, I have some games that would work. Like I have the Conan, the Monolith Conan, and the Monolith Solomon Kane, you know, with like hundreds of unpainted miniatures, you know, with them because I don't paint miniatures. I painted all of 2 miniatures in about 40 years. Yeah, I just don't. They don't see the light of day outside of my closet. Glad I have them there, because I'm a big Robert E. Howard fan. But
I went buck wild on the Monolith Conan game.
Yeah, I bought the whole set. I did the same thing with the Solomon Kane one too.
See, I didn't get that one, but the Conan one, I bought all the expansions and then ended up buying 2 extra core boxes.
Yeah, I don't
Not
know
all at the same time, but over.
I didn't buy all of the expansions, but like when it first came out in the Kickstarter, I got whatever the big deal was with the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I like my favorite expansions are the Norse one or the Azer and the Stygian one. I'm not a fan of the Katai one, but the Corinthian one's good. But basically, I bought the extra ones for the miniatures, and then I built an army for a war game I play out of the picks. Because I don't know if you know this, but you can order the picks with bows. So I ordered enough picks to make archer units, and then the picks that just came in a box. And the leader of the picks was that freaking mage witch doctor that come in the core box, right? And I just had a whole army of picks to fight with my friends. And I thought it was really cool. But then again, I'm easily impressed. How you doing, Mobius? What's up, eh? But yeah. So I can't say that. I'm maybe easily impressed. But now what Monolith has done that's pissed me right off, and I even talked to him, right, is they got the rights to make the Conan role-playing game, and they did a Kickstarter, and if you didn't do the Kickstarter, you're not getting the game.
Right.
And I've actually contacted them and been like, are you going to do another print run? I mean, I want to buy this game, but I'm not.
Who? Oh, wait, who did it?
Monolith did a.
Oh yeah, no, they lost the rights to it.
Monolith did?
Yeah, it's not Monolith that has the right. Wait, is it Monolith
or
Modiphius
had the rights? They lost it.
No, they lost it, and it's Heroic Signatures owns the rights. Now they might have they might have subbed that out, like out to Monolith to create that. But I've looked at that. I looked at it in its alpha stage or whatever. I checked that out, and Modiphius's Conan is much better.
Yeah, they actually, yeah, they released a like quick start rules.
Yeah, and the Modiphius is much better.
Well,
Much better.
Literally up here, I have every Conan book Modiphius actually printed.
Yeah, so do I. And it's just a much better system.
I
You
like
know,
it too. There's
it's a much better
talk shit
system,
about the
and
2020 system.
it's what Modiphius should have done was Modiphius should have just or Heroic Signatures should have bought the mechanics, and the whole thing from
like the
Modiphius.
rights to the game. And
Yeah.
everything.
Buy the rights to the game. And then that way they could have kept on running it and using it instead of making their own, their own system, which quite frankly was not as good as the 2D20 system.
Right. In other gaming news, I may have even told you this because I was pretty shocked when it happened. Game Designers Workshop has given all of their intellectual IP to Mongoose Publishing.
Right.
So you can go to Mongoose Publishing and buy everything role-playing related that Game Design Workshop worked on.
All right.
Plus, they're making new versions of a lot of the stuff. The only thing that they didn't get was Twilight 2000 because everyone involved agreed that Free League gets to keep that.
Yeah.
Because of how good they did with their box set and everything. And then War Games Atlantic, this won't impress you probably. They posted like a year ago that they're going to start making Traveler 2300 miniatures.
Oh, cool.
Like, so Kafers and all that.
Well, I just saw that Traveler is coming. They're doing a 5e version of Traveler.
Yeah.
But it's tremendously expensive, like ridiculously expensive. And I'm like, it's 5e. It was like Traveler and 5e just do not mix.
Yeah. They tried to do Traveler Die 20 like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, if you've never played Traveler, I guess it would work. But if you have played Traveler in your life, it just doesn't feel right, And I don't understand why anyone would choose 5e Traveler over normal Traveler. I mean, because just average normal Traveler is one of the easiest games you'll ever play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To sum it up, really, for anyone, roll 2 dice 6 and beat an 8.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's all there is to it. Roll 2 dice 6, beat an 8, add whatever you got. But, Anyway, Between Two Fires, no, I haven't. I got to get going.
Yeah, so do I, actually.
Dinner out of the.
Yeah, my wife is on her way home and with groceries. Yeah. So
they're not going to tote themselves in, right?
No.
I'll catch you later, Richard.
Yep. You take it easy. Actually, she literally just got home now. Wow.
Your channel one of these times.
All right.
You have a panel talking about stuff. I'll try to jump on.
Yeah. Then next, I usually do them Sundays. Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm almost always streaming on Sundays.
See, that would be pretty ideal for me. I might be able to do that.
All right,
Not
good.
this Sunday because it's my birthday, but
no, and it's Easter Sunday anyway. So so
Can
not
you
this
believe that?
Sunday, but the following Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, our Easter's not the same as everyone else.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yours is like 2 weeks later.
Yeah. We do everything after everyone else.
Yeah.
But I'll catch you later, bro. It's good talking to you.
All right, you take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Ugh. Yeah. Fellow Army veteran and just all around